Hi, welcome to the video. So I'm going to cover a bunch of arpeggios. I'm not going to talk long on this one. It's 12 different arpeggios, but using 26 different fingerings on. I'm going to have the fingering written on here and the names of the arpeggios. If it's a slash, it means it's an inversion in this case. And you can download that free on my Patreon page. You don't have to remember. The link will be in the description. So definitely download, print it out, then you can write your own notes on it, because you're probably not going to like all these, to be honest, because this is going for being comprehensive rather than being the most common or the most useful ones. It's inspired from a section of this book. This book just has a ton of musical examples, and it's all kind of written out for piano. And they've got a 4-page section which they show 23 different bitonal arpeggios. What they're doing is you have 24 possible major or minor arpeggios on guitar. So they take a C major and then they use that as the first arpeggio, and then they play all 23 other possibilities, alternating with the C major. So if you have a C and an A in the book, they'd go through a 4-octave C, A, ascending, and then descend. On guitar, that's not very practical, so I did 2-octave. And this is second part. So part 1, I went through the first 11 possibilities, basically starting from a C to a C minor, and then moving up through F and F minor. On this one, I'm starting 12 through 23, so I'm starting on the F sharp, the C to F sharp, and then moving up to C and B major and B minor, which would be all your possibilities. When I was prepping for this video, I went into more depth than on the first one, and they probably played 10 or 12 different possible fingerings for each one, and then they narrowed it down to the 2 that I thought fit these criteria best. Practical in playing, and doesn't mean they're simple. There are some difficult ones still. It sounds good, and giving you a variety of different possibilities. So in some cases there might have been one that was simpler in a different fingering, but I wanted to give you as many possibilities as possible, so I'm starting them on this C, on this C, on this one, moving forward, backwards, giving you as many different possible fingerings as possible. Anyways, let's go and jump into this, and put more details in the comments section too. I'll talk a little bit more about this, but also go to the link that I'm putting up there. It will be in the description, and watch part 1, and that will give you a little bit more background on it too. So I'm going to be kind of looking at the paper here, because like I said, I probably played over 100 different fingerings in prep for this, so I want to make sure I'm actually playing the ones I wrote down on it. So the first one I'm going to start is a C major. So I'm just doing that first triad there, and then going into a F sharp major, which I'm just, F sharp major. And what this is going to be, I'm not starting on the root, I'm starting on the A sharp. So if the F sharp's back here, that would be your third, so it would be the first inversion. So I'm starting here and then reaching up to F sharp here. So it's basically 3, 5, an octave. So I'm going to play that. So like I said, some of these are going to be kind of discordant sounding, but that can be cool sometimes. So decide for yourself whether you like it. And some of them you might like slow, some of them you might like fast. So the different finger of this, I'm going to go back and play a C/G, basically a second inversion starting on the 5 note of the C, and then going right into a root position of the F sharp. And then the next one, number 13, I'm going to do a C into F sharp minor. So I'm going to start off, this one I'm going to, more so for variety than any reason that I picked this finger. I'm going to jump forward to my 3rd finger, then go into F sharp minor here. And then the next one, I'm going to start on the G note again for the C, and then, so that's again, C to F sharp minor. I'm going to go ahead and go C to G. Now this one won't be as discordant because G fits inside as the C, can't talk. G fits inside the key of C, and C fits inside the key of G, so it's going to be more resolved sounding. So basically I'm going to do this. So basically I'm playing C major, and then the G. I'm considering the G starting right here on the B note because I'm trying to give the full 3 notes separately. So this G actually would overlap from the last note of C major. But I'm going to consider the end of the C major to be there in the beginning of the G here. Okay, the next one I'm going to start on the C on the G note. And I'm going to jump up here. And here's my beginning of my G. Now, sometimes you'll see other ones that kind of fit inside this. So this will kind of look like a C major 7 arpeggio, because it is if you play it by itself. But in this context, I'm thinking of it as a C going into a G. Okay, next one's C into G minor. So I'm going to take this. And then the G minor, again, I don't want to duplicate this G note, so I'm actually starting on the inversion here, on the first inversion, and I'm going hitting the G as the last note. And then as a variation, I'm just going to move the C back to this position. So that gives me just kind of kind of interesting shifting position on that. The next one, so we just did G minor, so now I'm going to do A flat major. So I'm going to go with this, and then I'm just going to use my 3rd finger right here and do this A flat major here. Now you can picking wise, you can do this either 3 downstrokes, an upstroke, and then 2 downstrokes, which if I'm doing slow, I will almost always do it that way. If I'm doing it fast, I'll sometimes do it that way. Sometimes I'll pick this note twice, because at speed it creates a better flow, and it's not really that noticeable on that. So you can go ahead and double pick that, but at slow speed it's going to sound out of place if I do that, in my opinion. Okay, so that's A flat. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it up here. Now this top part, it's kind of like gets into alternate picking on it, and it's actually, if you just think of this little section, that'd be like an A flat major 7. But again, we're thinking of it not necessarily what it can create when you combine them, but as just the sound of the two together. And you can then analyze this stuff as being 2 equal things, or as C being the dominant, or as A flat being the dominant, the main one that you're focusing on. So you can think of it as extensions or alterations to one of the other ones, or as being from 2 different keys, and just create an interesting sound. Okay, so next one, C to G sharp minor. So then you're going to go back to the same note as the A flat, but doing the minor shape. Now I'm going to go up here. This will actually be the same shape I did here, but because I'm crossing a B string, now this shape becomes minor, while up here is major. So that's the C to G sharp minor. So now I'm going to go C to A. Here I'm kind of duplicating a little bit, but I kind of just liked that finger falls so easily that I want to reuse this shape, even though I'd also used it on the A flat. And then up here, I didn't want to do the same thing again up here, so I used a different shape, going to this A major and this C major. Now, of course, on any of these, if you wanted to, you could go to the octave on the 2nd arpeggio, or like the book did, you can go back to C major and start that afterwards. It's all how you use it is totally up to you. So that was C to A major. Now I'm going to just do C to A minor. Now, if you think about this could also just be considered a A minor 7 or C6. But again, for our purposes, we're thinking of it as 2 separate, a C major and an A minor. And then I'm just going to go back here. The nice thing about this, if you know both fingers, you can kind of use them back and forth as a way to kind of shift positions. Okay, next one, C to B flat major. Now this one, basically I'm going to do a C, and then I'm just going to do the same shape here. But if you think of it that way, the problem is you probably will pause between the two. So what I'm instead seeing is, oh, okay, if I look at this, that's actually a G minor 7 on there. So by thinking of that sweep, that then makes me transition smoother to this B flat. Now you're basically the same thing, just up an octave. Now you can see on the same thing, it's got a G minor 7 right here. But again, it's basically just a C to a B flat major. Now the next one, C to, and on any of these too, keep in mind you can start on the other octave. Instead of starting on the C, I could start on this B flat and play that. Or I could take something like this. I could do like a B flat minor and then go into C major. So there I'm just switching it. The C doesn't have to be in the bass, and then the other one on top you can switch which is the lower one. I just didn't want too unlimited number of fingerings by switching all of them. Alright, we've got a lot. Alright, so we just ended on the B flat major. So now we'll go ahead and do a C into B flat minor. So, which is what that last 3 octave one was. So I'm doing a C, then I'm basically doing the same shape I did for the major, just moving this back. But I wanted to do a similar shape because by moving that back, you actually, this middle section here, have a diminished 7th arpeggio. So that's kind of interesting, but it doesn't just sound like diminished 7th because the highest and lowest note aren't in the diminished. So I kind of like that one. Then back here, you're going to do the same thing. And this, of course, would also have, so there's my B flat minor, and then my C major. And the middle section of this also has a diminished 7 in it. Okay, so C to B flat minor, C to B, so we've just got a couple left, B and B minor, and then I'll do a wrap up and I'll show another variation you can do, 3 octave one. So C to B major. Now, so there's my C, then I'm just going to do this one. Now when I combine it together though, again I get kind of this shape, which again you can't see other things inside it. This is like an augmented triad right here. So, you know, again giving that tension out. And same thing, you got that little augmented shape inside. When you combine those two together, so that's a C to a B. Now C to B minor. So now this one I showed in a 3 octave, and all this is tabbed out. Every shape I'm showing, including the variations. So any of these you can continue down. So instead of reaching here, I'm going to come up here and just continue down that B minor to give a different sound. So, you know, make these your own. You know, add extra octaves, add other things to them. You can add 7ths, all kinds of different things, but this gives you a starting point of a lot of different options, and mostly just hearing them and seeing, okay, do I like the sound of it? If you do more fingerings of it, or leave a comment. If there's a couple you guys really like, I can show a half dozen fingerings for each of those, and that's no problem at all. So again, here's the tab. Check out my Patreon and the link for the to download that. I have done a number of other videos that combine different like 7s and triads and stuff together to make extensions or altered arpeggios. The ones I've done in the past were pretty much always staying in one key and not going in and harmonizing through a key, rather than like today's where it's going in and out of all kinds of different keys. Okay, if you like it, please subscribe, click like, share it, comment. Any of that stuff helps me get seen by more viewers. It helps with the algorithm. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.